Welcome to today's class. Today I'll be talking more about the fundamentals of purchasing. So as you all know, purchasing is one of the core activities in any economy, and all types of organizations must get involved in purchasing. So purchasing basically includes issues to do with the merchandising, manufacturing, or even non-profit making organizations who engage themselves continuously on activities that deal with purchasing. So it's always important to note that organization must always ensure that they purchase goods, services, so that they are able to achieve some of the important objectives in that organization. So purchasing can be divided into two broad groups, and one of the groups is called mercantile purchasing. Mercantile purchasing is all about the commercial activities where buying of items is intended for the purposes of resale at a profit. So in this type of purchasing, organizations basically buy goods and services with the focus of reselling them at a given profit or at a given margin. The other important aspect is the industrial purchasing. Industrial purchasing involves the procurement of items for purposes of consumption or conversion of these industrial, for conversion basically. So industrial purchasing encompasses a wider area and opens the avenues for the microscopic studies. Industrial purchasing basically deals with the efficient procurement and management of issues incidental to the respect of the following items. So some of those items include raw materials. Raw materials are items that are purchased in their raw state and they are used basically in further processing and fabrications. For example, we have ore, iron ore, we have crude oil, we have rubber, leather, and etc. The other thing is the components. Components are finished products which are sub-assemblies or assembled to form finished products, such as the tire in automobile industry. We have consumables. Consumables, stores, and supplies. These are items which are required in the manufacturing operations, but which normally do not enter into the finished products. They are also known as indirect materials. For example, we have lubricants, abrasives, paper, and cleaning compounds. Office supplies, basically these are items that are used in the offices or the stationery such as writing pads, carbon paper, stencils, duplicating inks, pens, and etc. We have office appliances. Office appliances refers to office machines such as PCs, calculators, intercom systems, and air conditioning equipment. And lastly, we have spares and tools. Spares and tools include the parts that are required for replacement and maintenance, such as bolts, nuts, hammers, and pumps. Lastly, we have machines and equipment. Various types of machines and equipment are required for different types of manufacturing and operations. And services, they include drillers, cutters, furnaces, boilers, trucks, etc. So after knowing all that, we need to understand the meaning of purchasing. And as you all know, purchasing is one of the common and at the same time strategic activity in any business. The success of any business is dependent on the purchasing activities or the purchasing function. So purchasing can be broadly looked at as one of the managerial activities that goes beyond a routine buying, a routine act of buying, and includes the planning and policy activity covering a wide range of related complementary activities. So scientifically, management is a managerial activity. Purchasing is a managerial activity that goes beyond the routine act of buying. So when you are doing purchasing, basically, you are doing it to be strategic in some of your activities. And by being strategic, what happens is that you become competitively advantaged when you depend or when you compare yourself with your competitor. So the other thing that we are going to talk about are the objectives of purchasing. So purchasing is important an inevitable activity of any business or non-trading activity. Progressive organizations recognize it as an important function and organizes separate purchase department to look after the purchasing function. So an organization must have a purchasing department, and one of the focus of any purchasing department is to ensure that they check the progressive activity when it comes to the issues of buying within the organization. So some of the key objectives of any organization purchasing department is that, number one, to avail the material supplies and equipment at minimum possible cost. So one of the focus of purchasing is to ensure that they are able to avail materials when they are required at minimum possible cost. So therefore, that means at any given time, inputs that are going to be used in manufacturing are able to be provided at the time that they are needed, so that at any given time, production is not interrupted with, and therefore leading to productivity and profitability in the operations of the organization. The other important objective is that it ensures continuous flow of production. So purchasing department always ensures that materials are readily available, and because those materials are readily available, the organization is able to continuously do its production, and the supply of the components that are required for production are always available. The other important thing is it leads to increase in asset turnover. So when purchasing department is in place, they're able to convert assets or inventory, and basically at the end of the day, they are able to get their return on investment. So basically the efforts of purchasing is to include better maintenance of level of investment in inventory, and be able to ensure inventory is converted into sales. The other objective is to develop the alternative source of supply. So purchasing department will ensure that they are able to get alternative sources of supply of materials, and the ability to bargain at and ensure that they are able to minimize the various costs in that organization. It also allows the organization to be able to maintain good relationship with supplier. So remember, relationship with supplier is very key. So if you can't maintain your relationship with your suppliers, then it means you are bound to fail as an organization. And remember, suppliers are one of the key stakeholders in any organization. Therefore, it is always important to put your purchasing function in place that will enable a smooth flow or enable better interrelationship between the organization and the suppliers. It also allows the organization to be able to achieve maximum integration with other departments of the company. Remember, purchasing does not work alone. It works with other departments. So it allows the organization to be able to work with other departments, which might include purchasing department, engineering, marketing, and other department, finance, and personnel. It also develops or trains personnel. So purchasing allows people to be trained so that they become better and better in the organization. And lastly, efficient record keeping. So what are some of the purchasing principles? We have very many purchasing principles, basically 6 purchasing principles, normally referred to as the 5 R's of purchasing. And this includes to purchase the right quality of materials. So the organization must be able to purchase the right quality of materials. Remember, the customer is very key. So the customer must be able to get the right quality. And quality basically means fitness for purpose. So if the organization is able to do that, then at the end of the day, customers will always come for that product. The second objective is to purchase the materials in the right quantity. So you must be able to get the materials that you've ordered for. If you ordered for 10 pieces of a certain material, you must be able to get those 10 pieces. Therefore, the purchasing department enables the organization to be able to get the right quantity. It also allows the management to be able to make the materials available at the right time. So purchasing will allow suppliers to be able to get or to deliver the materials when they are required by the organization. Basically, be able to get materials at the right time. The other thing is that purchasing the materials at the right price. So you're able to get value for your money by getting the materials at the right price. You're also required to get the materials at the right source. So basically, you'll be required to get materials at the right source by the supplier. So the correct supplier. So but purchasing allows you to be able to get materials at the right source. So the last thing that we are going to talk about today is the significance of purchasing. So purchasing is normally referred as the most single important activity of material management in most of the companies. So efficient purchasing is able to reduce the cost considerably. So one of the significance or advantages of purchasing function include the following. The first one is efficient administration. So organizations that have organized their purchasing well are able to get efficient administration at the end of the day. The other important aspect or advantage is that the quality of the final products. So through purchasing function, the organization is able to facilitate better quality of the final product. This is because purchasing will be able to extract carefully the quality of their final products. Therefore, at the end of the day, the reputation of the company will remain and customers will be able to come again and again, therefore leading to brand loyal customers. The other thing is delivery time. Purchasing allows timeliness of delivery or timeliness of materials to the customer. So at the end of the day, you are able to get the best in terms of the delivery of goods at the right time. It also lead to increased profitability. So you're able to get better profits when you have purchasing function in place. This is because it encompasses the issues which directly affect profitability of the company. The other important aspect is that it leads to optimum utilization of capital. So you're able to utilize your capital well. And remember, capital is the amount of money you've put into business. And at the end of the day, you'll be able to get your return on investment. Thank you for listening. In case you have any questions, feel free to always ask. Welcome.